We've said from day one we didn't want to fill up the podcast with adverts, and we're not about to do that. However, podcasts do cost money to make, and thanks to our friends at Viking Covers, we're able to cover some of those. Their values are the same as ours, they're car enthusiasts, and they've got a real quality product we think you might be interested in. If you're looking for indoor or outdoor car covers for your vehicle, please go check them out at vikingcovers.co.uk. Now, over to the show.
He was obsessed with rattles in cars, so he bundled me in the boot and went driving around these country roads. God knows what conversations went on there between him and my mum about that. And he always had two Jags at any one time. He would have these cars that had massive engines, 4 litres, and they were like ridiculous. But he was absolutely obsessed with miles per gallon.
Welcome to my dad's car. Enjoy!
Welcome to My Dad's Car, a podcast discussing our personal relationship with automotive nostalgia. And you know what? It doesn't even have to be about your dad's car. It can be your mum's, your grand's, your parents', guardians, or even a neighbour's. If it made an impression, let's talk about it.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
All right, mate. Yeah, good, thanks. How's things?
Yeah, well, not too bad. Yeah, plodding on. You?
Not bad. Yeah, not bad, thanks.
Wonderful news. How are we doing, Paul?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hello. Am I in the right place?
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent. Nice to meet you, Andy.
Yeah, indeed.
Hiya, Paul. How you doing?
Hello, John. I'm good, thanks, mate.
Good stuff.
Well, thank you for the invite.
Yeah, not a problem at all. Yeah, thank you for saying yes, and yeah, hopefully we'll have a nice chat.
Yeah.
For the benefit of the tape, we're joined by Paul Lucas, who I stumbled across on Instagram, messing around with Porsches. And if I've got this right, you turn Porsche Boxsters into RS replicas. Is that right, Paul?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing in the last few years. So they're basically kit cars. But my first ever one was a Ferrari, but since then I've done 5. So the last 4 have been Porsches, yeah.
Fantastic. And is this a hobby or just a day job? Or
No, it's very much a hobby. My day job, I work in finance. I'm a portfolio manager. But I've always been very into cars and DIY from a very early age. And yeah, I just like building things. So I stumbled across the sort of kit car industry probably nearly 15 years ago, and it's sort of just gone from there. So ever since then, I've always had one on the go, and I actually use them as daily drivers.
okay.
So yeah, that's the good thing about it. Although my wife is clamping down, I'm currently finishing off another one, and she says I should probably find another hobby. She's probably the only wife in the world that wants me to take up golf. Wants her husband to take up golf. So there you go.
I thought you were going to say you should probably find another wife at one stage.
No, it was our wedding anniversary yesterday, so no, definitely not. No, bless her. She's put up with 21 years of me being married to her and, 15 years of car building. But it is hard work, and I am getting older now, and I do find things like the knees and the back are not quite what they used to be. So
Is it all at home, Paul, all your car stuff?
yeah, so when I started with the Ferrari, which was probably about 2013, I didn't have the space at home.
Yeah.
So I built it with my dad.
Okay.
So, this is the connection here, because he had a single garage and sort of a carport. So he had sort of space to do stuff.
Yeah.
So I sort of built it to a stage when it was ready for painting. And then what I did is I sent it away to be painted. And then while it was away, I extended my single garage that's attached to my house so it would fit it in there when it came back painted, and I could sort of finish it off. So I sort of mostly built it around his and then finished off at mine. But since then, I have built my own man cave in the back of my garden, like a massive wooden sort of, we call it the lodge. So it's like 8 metres by 4 metres wooden structure, and all the Porsches I've built in there at home. Because Dad, he moved from that house not long after the Ferrari was finished, and now he's no longer with us. So yeah, but it's nicer to do it at home because I could just keep popping out there and doing a little bit and not coming back in for ages. You know what it's like with men in sheds. So
Yeah, go out for a screwdriver, come back now later.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely, at least, yeah. But no, it works well. It's my wife very rarely goes in her. She's very much allowed to come in, but I don't think she wants to. But there you go. That's what it is.
Fantastic. And where can people find you, Paul, if they want to follow your journey?
So basically, yeah, I'm on Instagram, which is where you found me. It's just called Kit Cars Paul 79. I'm also on YouTube, which is called the same thing, Kit Cars with Paul 79. I do probably a video once a month, but again, as you probably know, it's quite hard work making videos, and I don't actually have anyone to help me. So I would do more, but I've actually got to build the cars and I've actually got to do my day job, so I don't get much chance to do it. But yeah, that's where I am. And I also have a website that has a few photos of my cars, and I actually have done an ebook, which is basically all the information you sort of need to know and what I've learned about building these Porsche replicas. And that's just kitcarspaul79.com.
Okay,
Great.
fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll jump into it. What's your earliest car memory?
Well, I think my probably earliest car memory is with Dad, and he had an MGB GT, and there's a photo knocking about when I was very young. I was probably about 3 or 4, and there's a photo of me in front of it. So that's probably the first car I remember. My dad was very much a Jag man. He had a variety of Jaguars over the years, starting with the Mk2, the Inspector Morse ones.
Yeah.
Those, and then he's had E-types, often the XJ6s.
Yeah.
At the time, the one I say I remember the most was, the first one was this MGB that he put a V8 in it or something like that.
Okay.
I don't think he did it. I don't know much about the MGs.
They did do a V8 version.
Did they?
Like out the factory, yeah. So it's possible it was factory, but yeah, I imagine people did swap them too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I just remember the noise of it and the smell of the leather seats. But probably the other car that I remember the most was the Triumph Stag that he had.
Okay.
I remember going to pick that up with him when I was probably about 6 or 7. And that car created a lot of holiday memories because basically he was a member of the Triumph Stag Club, the owners' club.
Yeah.
And they would often do a holiday to France. And it was probably about 10 families would go down in convoy to the south of France. Saint-Tropez, just stay on a campsite, And that was our holidays, actually, for most of my childhood.
Nice.
But I think as with me and my sister, we got bigger, we stopped going in the Triumph Stag and we went in one of his Jags at the time because we just couldn't fit everything in. But yeah, we met a few families from those holidays over the years, which is, some of those early memories I remember. So yeah.
Must have been pretty cool, a convoy of stags.
It was.
And potentially some breakdowns along the way.
Oh yeah, plenty of breakdowns. He was also a member of the Jag Drivers Club as well, and they would often do these car rallies in Europe. I remember specifically all 4 of us, so mum, dad, and my sister and me, going to Switzerland and Germany, like the Black Forest, and just driving, staying in a different hotel every night. It was quite an exciting time. I mean, all I cared about every time we got to the hotel, though, was did it have a swimming pool? Because I was probably only about 8 or 9.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't really think much at the time about all of this. I just thought it was pretty normal. But yeah, I look back now and I think, oh yeah, I do quite fancy doing stuff like that with my wife. I don't think my girls would. I mean, my girls are almost grown up now anyway. But yeah.
What was your dad's line of work, Paul?
So he was an optician.
Oh, right. Okay.
So he was an optician. He had his own business. This is in the days before you could get your glasses made in an hour at Vision Express. So, he did all right for himself. He spent a lot of money on cars, and some of those Jags he then had modified further. I mean, probably the biggest mod he did was he had an XJS Cabriolet, right? They then stopped making that, and you could either get a hardtop XJS or a convertible one. But he liked this Cabriolet one, the one with like a T-bar in, and a solid roof over your head. But anyway, and I think they only made them in 3.6s, but he wanted a 4-litre one. So he bought a newer version XJS that was a hardtop and had it converted by some guy in Kent.
Not Paul Banham, was it?
Yeah, it was Banham, yeah. yeah. So I don't know if he's still about.
Cutting into that, my father was a coach trimmer and did work with Paul Banham. Paul Banham did an XJS kit, which was facelift XJS before they brought in the XK8? Was it?
Yeah,
Like the
yeah. That was the replacement. Yeah.
had like Corsa headlights, I think Mondeo rears, and Dad did like the interior and the hood and stuff for it. So yeah, I went to Paul Banham's workshop.
Right. Well, I've been there as well. So yeah, nice.
Yeah, sorry, I jumped in. So yeah, he put a 4 litre and did his Targa or whatever.
No. So he bought the hard top.
Yeah,
So he had a 4 litre to start with, and then just made it a cabriolet.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, God knows what conversations went on between him and my mum about that for him to get sign off, but he probably didn't care. But anyway, yeah, I just remember it was away for a bit, and then suddenly it came back.
Oh, okay.
I mean, probably the prettiest car he ever had though was an E-Type. It was a hardtop E-Type. Navy blue. I just remember those chrome spoke wheels and him cleaning them forever because there was a lot of spokes.
Mm.
And I remember someone ran into the back of it outside my school when he was picking me up, and he was in quite a bad mood for a while. But he got it fixed. But yeah. I mean, I just wish he'd kept on to that car. To be fair, because I think they're worth quite a lot of money now.
Were his cars old at the time, or were they classic at the time, or were they kind of the period, like the Mk2 Jag, for example, or the Stags? Were they kind of the period, or was he particularly choosing an older car because he liked the style or the kind of the charm of it?
No, I mean, it's a good question. No, he never bought brand new. I mean, yeah, so he had XK8s, he had an XKR in later life. They would probably every time he bought a car, they were probably maybe 8 years old.
Yeah.
So they weren't current.
Do you remember where he would get the cars from, Paul? And obviously, well, clearly he didn't really stray from British-made vehicles either, by the sounds of it.
No, I mean, Mum had, bless her, she always wanted a Mercedes Sports. You know, the quite sort of one of the original one, quite a very long flat bonnet and a flat boot.
Yeah.
Bless her, she never got that. I don't know why.
Right.
But she was knocking about in a BMW E30 325i convertible with a lovely body kit on it. So I really wanted that car.
Yeah.
But that went. No, I don't know. I think probably bought a few from Jaguar dealers, but again, they were never brand new. But a lot of them were just second hand off other people, like private sales.
Mm.
If we go back to the MG, then what colour was that?
It was like a silver colour, and it wasn't a convertible. It was like a hatchback one.
Yeah.
Like with a rubber spoiler on the back and big sort of rubber-looking bumpers.
Yeah.
I'll send you the photo if I can find it.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, that was. I do remember something now. What he would make me do, basically, he was obsessed with rattles in cars.
Okay.
And there was probably quite a few in his. And I'm obsessed with like rattles. I'm sure we all are. It's annoying. But I remember, and I think it was in the MG, he had this rattle that he couldn't pinpoint. So he bundled me in the boot and went driving around these country roads, and I had to listen in all these corners of the car to try and sort of pinpoint where this noise was coming from. Yeah, I don't think I particularly enjoyed that, to be fair, but you know, it was a means to an end, I suppose. But yeah.
But you can't be in two places at once, can you? You can't drive the car and find the squeak.
No. Yeah, I know. I haven't made my daughters do that in the past, but yeah. Hey ho.
It's the same with water leaks, isn't it? Someone's got to be outside with a hose, and someone's got to be inside getting wet.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go back to the Stag, for example, going down into Europe.
Going down to France, yeah.
Did you have music playing? And if so, kind of what was on the stereo?
So it was obviously all Dad's choosing. You know, we had no say in whatsoever. Not like my kids had.
Yeah.
He was like a lot of Phil Collins, soft sort of rock stuff, Dire Straits. But he loved music, you know. When he died, and I had to clear his house out, the number of CDs he had, oh my word! But he would just make compilations of CDs. So, like, you know, he would have every Chris Rea album, you know, every Rod Stewart album, and he would make CDs up of his favourite songs from each album.
Yeah.
You know, and just burn them onto a disc. Well, no, it was probably tapes in those days.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that sort of music, that sort of stuff. Fleetwood Mac, you know, all of that, all the stuff that, you know, I like my wife likes, because we were probably subjected to it a lot.
Yeah.
Because, my wife, even though I met her at school, and this was after the days of the Stag holidays in France, they did a similar thing. They would drive down to France, not with a club or anything, but yeah, they would go camping as well. So it was obviously at the time quite a popular way to go on holiday. So we all have similar tastes. But what I remember is he would make compilation tapes up of various different artists all in one tape.
Yeah.
And I think when you're a kid, because your mind is such a sponge at that point, you would have a song finish playing and the next one would start. And I can still subconsciously I can't give you an example of a specific song, but I can still subconsciously think, oh, right, yeah, that song's going to come on next.
Yeah.
Because I listened to it so much on Dad's tapes.
Yeah, definitely relate to that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the Stag, for example, was that his daily driver, or was that alongside, say, the Jag or something as a regular car?
No, he... because he drove to work, he probably had a 20-mile round trip every day to work. No, he would probably use the Jags more. I mean, I remember Mum taking me to school in the Stag.
Okay.
They did sort of chop and change and alternate it. I mean, he had about 4 cars at once. And he always had 2 Jags at any one time. And then I think towards the end of us having the Stag, it just sat in the garage a bit more. I think it became a bit troublesome. And that's when Mum had the BMW. But for him, the Jags were the main cars he used.
Yeah. And so your mum would use his car. She didn't have her own sort of run around or whatever.
Well, I don't really know what the agreement they had, but I don't remember really her ever driving a Jag.
Yeah.
I think it was either the Stag. I mean, the MG, I think you could class was probably hers. The smaller ones. The MG, the Stag, the BM. We had a Mini for some reason for a bit, which was a bit ridiculous because Dad was a very big guy. I remember him sitting in that and he just literally filled it. And I remember Mum using the Mini quite a lot.
Have you got any idea how your dad got into cars? But he's clearly a car person, the sort of catalogue of vehicles that you reeled off.
I don't know really, because my dad had a very interesting life. So my dad was Lithuanian, right?
Okay.
And he was born in 1942. And at that point, you had the Soviet Union, the USSR. And he and his family, a bit like what happened in Ukraine a few years ago, was driven out by the Russians.
Oh, right.
And he remembers him and his sister going across Europe in a wooden caravan, like Tommy Shelby, and eventually ending up in the UK somehow. He settled down in Cornwall with his mum and dad and his sister. He ended up going to university. Well, he went to a number of schools. They sent him off to Italy, I think, because I think his mum and dad wanted him to be a priest for some reason. They sent him off to some school in Italy when he was probably about 14, but he come back. Eventually ended up at university in Manchester, where he studied optics. And that's why he started supporting Man United, which is a team that I support now. So that was that connection there. And in terms of cars, I really don't know. I just think when he got his job as an optician and he started getting a bit of money in his pocket, fancied a Jag. I remember looking at some photos of him with his Mark II Jag or whatever it was, looking very young, Yeah, I just think that's what got him into it. And the funny thing was about and throughout his whole life, right, he would have these cars that had massive engines, 4 litres, and they were like ridiculous. But he was absolutely obsessed with miles per gallon.
Okay.
Not that he's not like he couldn't afford it, but I don't know. He just didn't like wasting the money on the petrol. I remember coming back from one trip because he was very into table tennis as well, and I played table tennis. I played for Essex. And we would go all over the country playing when I was a kid. I remember him coming back and I was like, oh, can we just get home, Dad? And he was poodling along at like 55 on the motorway. And I was like, why are you going so slow? And he's going, oh, for this trip, if I keep it at this speed, I'll be able to get 25 miles to the gallon for the whole trip. And he just wanted to do that. A bit strange, but anyway. So we were home later than we should have been. But there you go.
What colour was his Mark II, Jag?
Oh, I think it was a white one he had.
Okay.
I think he had more than one. I think it was a white one, maybe a red one or navy blue. But yeah, no, these are very, very early. Man, I'm sure I was around at the time, but I would have been a baby.
Yeah. Do you remember kids at school with interest in cars, or either being kind of aware that your dad had cars that were perhaps a little bit more special than others?
No, not really. I don't seem to recall people talking much about that. I mean, I remember there was another kid at school who's actually the guy who paints all my cars now. His dad had a gold Rolls Royce.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was in my class, David. I'll give him a shout out. His company's called Craftwork Vehicle Refinishing, and he's currently painting one of my cars. But yeah, his dad is Italian. His dad had this old gold Rolls Royce, and yeah, he was sort of quite famous in the school. His dad had this Rolls Royce, and he actually owns it now, Dave.
Oh, wow.
And he's just refurbished it. I'm actually going to see it tomorrow, literally.
Oh, nice.
Because it's at his workshop. But no, not me. No one really remembered me for that, really. So no, just didn't talk about it.
Hard to go up against a roller, really, isn't it, in that era?
It is really, especially a gold one.
Yeah.
But it's great to see that car that I remember when I was 8 is still around and, still going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so there you go.
Fantastic. What about neighbours? Anything kind of interesting down the road that your neighbours were driving? Either kind of really good or really rubbish. You kind of...
No, not really. I think it was Dad who was the one who had the nice cars. I remember our next door neighbours, an old couple, they were just obsessed with French cars. So they always had French. So the old lady drove a Citroen 2CV,
Okay.
which was nicknamed the Upside Down Pram. And the husband had a Citroen BX. Do you remember them?
Hey!
Oh, yeah.
The suspension that went up and down. So
Do like a BX. Get that in there.
yeah. Where I grew up, the family home, either side of us was very old couples. There was a guy in a sort of road opposite us. He wasn't particularly nice. He would tell me and my friends off for cycling down his sort of road because he said it was private property. He used to knock about on an MX5, which, a little red one, and he would drive around in it with his blonde hair flapping in the wind. A bit of a person that is not very nice. I can't swear, obviously, but yeah, didn't like him. So I remember that car. But apart from that, no, nothing I can really remember.
So you're clearly now sort of involved with Porsches, Paul.
Yeah.
What took you down that route, do you think? What sparked it, so to speak?
Well, I've always liked Porsches. When I was like 21 and, going into the city finance, I was like, I really want a Porsche one day.
Yeah.
When I was 17, my first car was a VW Polo, and I was a bit of a boy racer. It was only a 1 litre, so it didn't go very fast, but I souped it up. I remember painting the bumpers with red, using a spray can from Halfords. It was a terrible finish, but I liked it. Put a big exhaust on it and all of that. So I was a bit of a boy racer between the ages of 17 and sort of 21. And then when I first sort of started work and I had a bit of money in my pocket, I really forgot about cars. I just suddenly thought, you know what? I want to do something else. I'm just not interested anymore. And I could afford a nice-ish car from the off that was a bit sporty. And I mean, I know I'm sort of going off on the bandwagon here a bit, but Porsches, I mean, yeah, I've always liked them, but the reason why I got into building them is the company, one of the guys. So my first kit car was this Ferrari.
What was that, MR2 based or something?
Yeah, MR2 based, Mark III. So it was the convertible one. There's guys that run that company who made those body kits. One of them was mad on Porsches, and now the company doesn't exist and they parted separate ways. He then started making this body kit for a Boxster, and the rest is history. And I've done, 3 or 4 of his kits on the Porsches. Why have I done so many? Well, I mean, I'm sort of missing out big chunks here of sort of the story, but with the Ferrari, it wasn't a very practical car. It was an MR2, nice enough car, a bit of a go-kart, and I didn't drive it that much, really. I couldn't really leave it in the car park at work and stuff like that. It wasn't that secure, if you ask me.
No.
And then when my friend, the guy that owns the company, started doing the Porsche kits, it's a much better car to be built on.
Yeah.
It's a Porsche. And it stays a Porsche. It's not like you've got a Toyota and it's now meant to be a Ferrari.
Yeah.
It was just a much better base car, and the beauty was I could build these things and sort of satisfy my craving for making things, and also then use it every day, because there were hard tops and probably not as extravagant looking as a red Ferrari is, sitting in a car park. So I sort of felt safer leaving it and driving it everywhere. And it was just more practical anyway. So, yeah, just kept doing them. But at the moment, yeah, I quite like the Porsche brand.
So you mentioned earlier about building the first one at your dad's place.
Yeah.
Was your dad hands-on? Was he kind of handy with the tools as well?
By that point, he's probably about 65. Yeah, he was, but he didn't like the idea of a Ferrari. I mean, he'd always wanted to do a kit car himself, but, when it was in his mind, there wasn't really anything about. He was happy to help. I mean, it wouldn't be a car he would want to build.
No.
But when he would do a few things for me, like, because the car's at my dad's now, I can't work on it every day. So what I would do is I'll go over Thursday evenings after work and all day on one weekend day, so either Saturday or Sunday. And I'm quite anal about planning things. I'm quite organised, but I would sort of think, right, okay, this weekend I want to do this bit. So I would say to him, could you cut out the holes for the rear lights on the fiberglass bumper or something like that during the week? And he would do that, yeah.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he had a bit of an accident quite near the start of the Ferrari build and broke his ankle and couldn't really do anything. So he would have been more useful
with two legs.
Would have been useful with two legs and no Zimmer frame. But it's not like I didn't want him to help. He perhaps wasn't as careful with things and didn't fully understand how to do things. So I'd rather sort of do it myself, and then I can sort of say I built it. But the best thing about it all was I could build it around there with him, and it's more just having someone to bounce ideas off, or when something's not going right, talk about it and come up with suggestions. It really helps if you get a bit stuck on something. So that was his main contribution to all of the cars, really.
Did he get involved with, or did he kind of get around to seeing the Porsches as well? I'm not sure how long ago you lost your father.
So, when I finished the Ferrari, I didn't really do anything for a good few years. Yeah, he would come round and see the progress on the Porsches. He'd come round to my house, and he was still around to see the white one that I've still got completed. Again, not his cup of tea, too low for him, too noisy for him, not comfortable enough. But yeah, I mean, I think he was secretly proud of me.
Yeah.
He was a funny man, my dad. He was very shy and wouldn't show many emotions. So I would hear from other people what he said about me in terms of he thought I'd done a pretty good job on certain things. So that was good enough for me.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. He would never say it to me face, but, it's just embarrassed. But yeah. Hey ho.
Of the cars you grew up with, you kind of alluded to a little bit earlier. Is there anything you'd want to go back to and say, yeah, I guess money no object? Would you want to put one of those on your driveway?
I mean, I always liked that BMW E30, but I always wanted an E30 M3.
Yeah.
I actually did own the XJS for a bit. I bought that off him.
Okay.
The one that had the cabriolet work done by Banham.
Yeah.
I actually owned that. And in fact, my wife drove that a few times. Yeah, I don't know what the reason was that I ended up having it. It was probably because I think Dad had sort of decided, what happens is you have a car, you think it's your pride and joy, and then something else comes along and you suddenly, that seed is planted and you wanted something else. So I think what he wanted, he quite fancied the XKs, but I don't think it was a problem that he couldn't sell it. I don't think he wanted to quite let it go so soon. So I had it instead. So it was still in the family. But yeah, my word, that bonnet was so long on that XJS. So yeah, so I have had the Jag experience, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, not really. I mean, obviously the E-Tough's a very pretty car. I mean, I'm 46 now, so I've got a few years before retirement. But if I do build another car, even though my wife says no,
we won't tell her.
I don't know. I just want to try and build something that we can both enjoy.
Yeah.
To be fair, she doesn't mind the Porsches. She doesn't mind the Porsches, but I'd quite like to, maybe go for a weekend away using one of those cars, and then again, the luggage space isn't great, so I don't know. I really don't know. I've sort of lost my trail of thought now here.
And I guess the other question, what with them being, although they are Porsches, being sort of a homage, if you like.
Yeah.
If you found a holder with 200 grand, would you buy a real one?
I don't know. What, a real GT3 RS?
Yeah.
I don't know, really. Probably not, to be fair. Because for me, it's like I've sort of already got it. And I'm not really one of these people that is into track days and, you know, racing cars. I've only really recently got into Formula One because my youngest daughter really likes it. And he's actually quite interesting and tactical. I never realised how tactical Formula One is with the old tyres. And obviously I watched the film with Brad Pitt in it and that. But no, I don't know, because it's not like I would have this car that's got all this power and motorsport pedigree, but never use it. What's the point?
Yeah.
You know? So, no, probably not.
Fair enough.
It's your answer.
Keep the money.
I'll keep the money. Spend it on university fees because they ain't cheap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, alongside this, I run a Porsche club in my spare time, and I know a few guys who've got cars like that, the RSs.
Yeah.
And they're a whole lot of money, and they come out 10 times a year or something. You're like, that's a huge amount of money not to be used.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you've got that much money, yeah. I was going to say, could I afford a real one anyway? No, probably not. Well, I'd have to live in it. But I just don't see, because I've managed to make something myself and I've got everything about it, i.e. the looks and all that. I suppose I'm a bit of a poser, really. I've got everything apart from the amazing performance. Well, unless I'm going to use that performance on the track, which I'm not, I'm only go to work in it and I go to B&Q in it and the rubbish dump, which I have done. I don't see the point, really. I've sort of got what I wanted out of it, so to speak.
Yeah.
And also made it myself. So yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
We'll keep the money.
Yeah.
We'll keep the money and my wife will spend it. She'll find something to spend it on. Another bathroom.
Give the wife the holder and just take the cash out of it.
I found a holder with 10 grand. You can have it.
There you go.
Well, yeah. Thank you very much for chatting with us, Paul. It's been nice to hear the story, and your dad seems like a really interesting chap.
Yeah, he was. I really miss him. I mean, you always have regrets. Didn't spend enough because him and my mum split up when I was 21. So we didn't have that grandparents thing with my girls growing up, and he very much took a step back. So, yeah, you always have regrets. We should spend more time with him, especially on the cars. But hey, what can you do? God bless him.
Yeah, John and I are in a similar boat, and we've kind of found, although we're not kind of talking about them all the time, just, kind of having a conversation where they're involved, but it's not just about the fact that you've lost them. It's quite nice. It's not sort of a sad conversation. It's sort of a celebratory conversation.
Yeah.
And, kind of being grateful for what they gave you and sort of what they got you into. So, yeah, it is a tricky one. It does get slightly easier, as obviously as the time goes by, but... Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Thank you very much, Paul.
All right. Well, nice to meet you, boys.
You too, Paul.
All the best. Cheerio. Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye.
Cool. There we go. There was a lot of cars in there, wasn't there?
Yeah, a lot of British cars in there. Yeah, a lot of gas-guzzling cars as well.
Yeah, that was quite funny, wasn't it? The fact that, he had like the big engines, but was pernickety about MPG.
Yeah, you sort of think if he was ever introduced to like a diesel engine, like how blown away you'd be by 60 MPG, I think.
If you think back, though, to, I guess, our childhoods, diesels were kind of frowned upon, weren't they, really?
Yeah.
It was only, I guess, early 90s with, like, the Peugeots, for example, and...
Have you seen that clip doing the round recently of, obviously we're experiencing quite severe flooding in various locations in the UK at the moment, and there's a clip of a 405 estate.
Oh, going through a flooded road.
It's obviously got a snorkel on it, but still, it's one of those diesel engines that you just mentioned that's sort of indestructible. Probably will go on forever as long as you sort of give it a service once in a while.
Yeah, it seemed kind of about that sort of time, wasn't it? Early 90s when they started hitting the road a lot in the UK. Taxi driver special, rep cars.
Yeah.
And then I guess, later on, Volkswagen, Audi, etc. To the point where everyone was being persuaded to buy a diesel.
And then they said, don't buy diesels, yeah.
Yeah. But up until that point, it was it was petrol, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it was a rarity, wasn't it? To go diesel over petrol, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, interesting conversation. Nice to hear reference to Paul Banham, who was, he did kit cars, did a lot of Jaguar XJS stuff. And yeah, like I mentioned, Dad did some work with him.
Mm.
He also did stuff based on Metros as well. He did like a Metro conversion that looked like an Audi TT and
All right.
yeah, various other things. I think he was based in Rochester, I want to say, but I went there a few times.
That's not a million miles from Braintree, wasn't it? Paul said he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a million miles from there.
So,
Nice little BX reference in there as well, which is nice.
indeed, yeah, we'll superimpose our penny drop
Yeah.
here and all the rest of that fireworks to celebrate the BX. But yeah, if you're interested in kit cars and Porsches, etc., he does some interesting stuff on his Instagram and YouTube. Basically, rebodying a Boxster. I think they take all the panels off and then put on the hardtop Porsche panels. And I say it makes it sound very simple, doesn't it? But
Yeah.
yeah, they look pretty convincing, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Quite a nice solution, though, isn't it? If you haven't got the 200k lying around.
Yeah, I think they start selling for 40, 50k, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little bit closer to people's budgets, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoyed that one. Nice to have him on and good to catch up. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
Cool. We'll wrap it up. Roll the credits.
Thank you for listening to my dad's car. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please support us. Buy us a coffee and subscribe. And tell all your friends.